So I just spent the weekend at the Cottage Country Comic-Con in Orilla, and we were there to promote Sage's artwork. So you can see a little bit of it here. Sage being my partner, and he does all kinds of really cool fetishy art. You can see a lot of what he does at his website, sagenoir.com, and I will link that down below. And here's just a couple examples of some of his stuff. You'll see the rest of the video I'm shot standing in front of his booth. And I also wanted to let you know that if you join my Patreon by the end of the month, for any dollar value that you feel comfortable with, you will be getting a nice postcard, and I'm going to be revamping all of my so this is the postcard that you'll get, the Nun and the Slave, because it's such a cute one. And I will be revamping all of my Patreon subscriber levels and everything very, very soon. So there'll be some new perks that you can get because my last ones just were not working out very well for me. But anyways, so spending time at the Comic-Con, I got thinking about the crossover between comics and kink, and just generally kind of being a geek and kink, because there seems to be a lot of us that fall into both categories. I sort of decided to sit down and talk a little bit about that sort of intersection of comics and kink. And the first part of the audio didn't go, so that's why you're seeing me here in my dungeon rather than at the Comic-Con. But basically, I started off by saying that for a lot of people, the first time that they were exposed to any kind of fetish or BDSM ideas was through comics or manga, that kind of stuff. So, that's where we sort of, some of those ideas get planted in our heads. And it's a good way to explore in a safe way because it's just a book, So anyways, we're going to pick up with the video that I shot at the con, where I was talking about, the sort of underlying, somewhat obvious kink aspects of Batman and Catwoman. So I'm going to switch to the other video now.
Between her skin-tight outfits, her skill with a whip, and her obvious sexual tension with Batman, she ensured that any dom with a bit of skill and a catsuit had a full client roster. Even Joker and Harley Quinn have some really obvious daddy dom and little girl vibes going. I'm convinced that that's a big part of why there's such a popular set of characters right now. Are you more into the world of sci-fi? Find me a straight Star Wars fan who doesn't have a slave Leia fantasy. So even when the kink isn't obvious, a lot of the costumes in comics are definitely fetish-inspired. Skin-tight spandex, or in the modern interpretations it's usually leather or latex, are absolutely everywhere. Schoolgirl costumes are all over manga and anime. Sometimes the kink is right in your face. Eric Stanton's name is synonymous with femdom comics. Just like Stanton used comics to explore their kinky desires when access to even vanilla porn was very limited. Stanton, Billboard, and many others both titillated and scandalized all kinds of people with their risque comics, but they did bring kink to a much wider audience. Today, a lot of the lines are blurred. Cosplay has become a major portion of comic conventions and anime conventions. A lot of these cosplayers have learned that they can sort of bridge the gap between cosplay and fetish, and they've turned it into a way to either fund their hobby, and for some of them, even made a job out of it. Of course, every con has at least a couple of furries running around. And not all furries are kinky, please don't get me wrong, but there are quite a few who, live in both worlds. Finally, a big part of comics is the power play dynamics that are involved. You have the hero who struggles against the villain, the forces of good and evil, and a lot of times our heroes or main characters even fight within themselves and their own dark desires. Comics blur a lot of lines, and it allows readers to indulge in some power play and primal dynamics. So if you're thinking about joining the kink community and you're a little worried because you're a bit of a geek, don't worry. There's a lot of us in the kink community. In fact, it seems like pretty much everyone who comes out and joins the community has a little bit of geek in them. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. I've had a lot of fun at the Comic-Con. Let me know, do you go to Comic-Cons? Do you cosplay or do anything like this? What are your favorite comics? Leave me comments down below and let me know what you're into. Anyways, guys, thanks. I'll see you in the next video.